Agent Sully.
Miami Culture Maven.
Cryptic Insight.
And Vision. And we're the glass half full, where the conversation is always rich, super engaging, and entertainment. We'd like to welcome you to our first episode of 2019. If you're not already a subscriber, hit that like button. And at the end of the conversation, please engage, leave your comments below. All right, guys, so today I think we got a really interesting topic. Very real, very down to earth, but I think very necessary for the community. Recently, there was an incident that took place in an Atlanta nightclub with Jasmine Island. If you're not familiar with the scenario, it was her birthday. She was out celebrating, had some drinks. Allegedly, a gentleman by the name of Dominic Williams put something in her drink, and she was allegedly raped on the floor.
On Facebook Live.
While recording herself on Facebook Live. So that brings the question, are false accusations affecting the impact of the current Me Too movement? The situation is ongoing right now, so we don't know. You know, it's still up in the air, but I think it's a conversation that we definitely should have, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Sully?
Well, what I think is I definitely do not want to make any judgments until I know firmly all the information about what happened before I personally make a judgment. A lot of times individuals make snap judgments, and there's a lot of problems that come along with it. And then at the end, even if they found out that the information they got was not complete or wrong, you have too much problems that have occurred as a result of that before. So I like to make sure that my judgments are sound. They're based on facts. But there is quite a bit to question.
Well, personally, as a woman, I'm upset with her. What if she just ruined my future husband's life? She put him through a situation that has caused him to have trauma, and now he's not the person that he would have been where we were supposed to meet when we were supposed to meet. What happens to the other person who was accused, who was then found to be actually in the right? I'm thinking about their psychological detriment.
I mean, when it comes to sexual assault and rape, it's a sensitive subject. But like everyone is saying, we do need to be sensitive and make sure that we acquire all the details before we start assuming guilt in the case of the accuser, and then just automatically siding with the person that is claiming to be a victim. It happens all too often on social media, especially with the Me Too movement gaining momentum, that we automatically just base our judgments off of what we first hear. And this is something that also gets in the way of due process and whatever happened to being innocent until proven guilty. This is something that we need to discuss because it's clearly a problem and it's only getting worse.
One thing I want to say is innocent until proven guilty does not apply when it comes to social media. If you haven't realized that, check that.
So what are some of the things that you're seeing?
When this was first brought to light, to me, I would have to admit that I thought, I felt sad for this lovely young lady. Now, when I looked at the facts, at the little bit of facts that I did have, it did paint a little bit of a shadow of doubt. But I have not made any judgments because I want to make sure I have all the information first.
What do we know regarding the situation so far? We know that it was her birthday. She was getting ready to go to the club, or she was at the club, supposedly with a couple acquaintances. What else happened?
She met with an individual in the club, male. They were drinking and having a great time. She was also chronicling the entire birthday event on her phone on Facebook. So a lot of individuals are able to see what was happening. And then ultimately, it is determined that she was raped on the dance floor. And in the video, she's screaming, "Help me, help me, help me." And that, I can't lie, that definitely got a visceral reaction, out of me. That really kind of bothered me. I'm thinking to myself, I know the club is loud, but there's got to be somebody close by who's hearing something and could be there to help or say something or just do something,
Let me be honest. As a woman, it's your birthday weekend. You're getting dressed all fly and everything. Your hair is done. You got your eyelashes done, right? Why aren't you wearing underwear? What is the intention of that? If you're going to the club by yourself, okay, yes, I understand. If you're going to the club by yourself and you put on a short dress with no underwear, what is your intention? That's my question.
Well, it doesn't even matter if she's going by herself. I think that's something that should just be not done in general.
And especially if you're by yourself. I mean, you don't have any backup.
She could be allergic to cotton.
You know what?
Maybe
That's
she
not
just
the
like the
only-
free balls. She just wants to be free.
Okay,
Right.
but at the same time now, what position as a woman are you putting yourself into to have that sort of an experience?
That's
Especially if you're going to be drinking and having a good time.
It's your
enjoying yourself.
birthday, you turning up.
That's responsibility. So, is there a level of accountability on both sides, both for her being in the club with what she's wearing, how she's carrying herself, as well as for the gentleman? Because he's there, he kind of sees that she's turned. He understands the situation. It's a birthday, so does he just avoid her altogether because he don't want no problems? What is he supposed to do?
It's subjective. Personally, I wouldn't have interacted with her, but obviously somebody else did and would.
What I have to say is, gentlemen, you have to be completely accountable and fully aware of your situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the allegations that resulted from his Dominic Williams encounter with Jasmine.
Well, the allegations is that he raped her on the dance floor. He groped her. There was sexual assault, and there was forcible rape. And it is, on the video, she's screaming, "Help me! Help me! Help me!" And it's at that point where it's determined that the actual rape was occurring.
And it's also presumed that he drugged her drink before doing this.
There's also conflicting evidence that's saying that she may have staged the whole thing. It may have been something that both her and her ex-husband in the situation may have planned. So there's a lot of things that are up in the air. But it definitely brings a good social conversation. What's right? What should we do 2019 in the club? What's okay? How do I have a good time with a woman and her not feel like I'm coming off like a jerk, a creep, or weirdo?
I firmly believe that the female gender is the one who kind of dictates how that goes into place. So maybe you'd be able to explain.
Yeah, you show people how you should be treated by the way you carry yourself, by how you conduct yourself, right? If I'm in the club and I had a couple shots of Patron and I start dirty whining on stage,
Hey.
I'm going to expect some sort of repercussion from that. How many men are now going to approach me because they've seen me act like that?
So is that okay? Because, because you're dancing and you're dancing a particular way because you're enjoying yourself, does that warrant us or make it okay for someone to approach you a particular way?
The approach is fine, but it's going to be on the male side of the judgment too, based on the interaction, right? So, okay, you approach and you realize that I'm incoherent. So now you have to make a judgment call and say, well, okay, am I going to go and take advantage of this incoherence? Or am I bigger than that because who knows what that can spiral into in this age of Me Too? The responsibility is on the side of the person who's more coherent, regardless of the gender.
So he's taking on a huge responsibility, especially when there's a lot more things to factor in. Emotion,
Hormones,
uh,
testosterone, stuff like that.
Chemistry.
Yeah.
Alcohol.
So you're asking. So really, you're asking a lot.
Yes.
Well, I'm not saying that I'm not asking a lot, but I'm just keeping it real. You should take the responsibility. If I'm less drunk than you, then I'm going to say, you know what? This is, this doesn't make sense. You want some water? Let me get you some water. Bartend's up.
But I'm more than sure that if you were performing with thoughtish behavior, you do not want a glass of water.
But that doesn't mean that you, as the person who is the more coherent, can't offer that and make it's basically a good faith action, right? So now I'm going to remember maybe like, yo, that dude was very nice. Like, he didn't even take my number, nothing, and he got me the water.
Really?
But then,
Is that realistic?
I'm talking for myself. I'm speaking for myself.
Okay.
all right, because I'll say it's been said, we hear it all the time. There's a lot of women that's out there that say, "Yo, he's too passive. He needs to approach me, right?" But if we approach and we come up, don't talk to me.
No, but that's a whole different thing now. I'm talking about being too drunk. I'm not talking about having an attitude. That's different. Because I can have my ego and my attitude if I'm with my homegirls and like, oh, all of us look like bad, women,
Right.
whatever, and someone walks up to us and tries to buy us a drink. That's like, okay, but I'm coherent enough to give you an attitude.
All right,
It's
so
different.
then,
It's different.
in your perspective, 2019,
It's different.
what's considered being too thotty for the party?
You know what? You sound like a Scotty potty. Too thotty for the party. Okay, too thotty for the party? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
again, it's about engagement. You know, like if you come to the club with no panties on and a short dress, I'm gonna expect dudes to treat you a certain way. If you are in a twerk contest, that's gonna put you in a situation to have to interact based on your actions in that twerk contest. So I personally am not gonna conduct myself in that manner because I want to be treated like that.
Yeah, it's all about perception. So ladies, if you put yourself in a situation to encourage bad behavior, you need to be prepared and have a plan as to how you're going to deal with that. If a dude pushes up on you and he's clearly intoxicated, either A, have your friends make sure that they're checking on you and they can step in and intervene, which I'm sure a lot of them will have no problem doing.
Squad.
But you have to be held accountable for your own actions and make sure that you're presenting yourself in a favorable light to attract the kind of man that you want.
And I would like to say that when I approach a lovely young lady and I say, "Good evening, ma'am, I would like to purchase you a non-alcoholic beverage. I would like you to not decline and sit and have an engaging conversation with me."
Yes.
Thank you.
2019, brothers, can we take the accountability to see a woman if she's too turned? Can we be the ones to actually say to her, "Listen, I think you've had too much." Look at one of her friends. "Hey, can you help her out?
Right.
She needs a timeout." Can we be the ones to say that rather than letting the situation get messy, get uncontrollable, or put us in a compromising situation? Because I think that's a part of the issue. Sometimes we let a mess too. You know what I'm saying? We want to see where it goes, maybe turn it into a situation where we can take her home. But either way, I think in 2019, the potential for us to have issues is too big. It's not worth it.
You can't save them all. If she's getting belligerent at that point, just walk away.
Right.
No harm, no foul.
Hands
She can't
off.
accuse you of anything if you don't linger around.
Hands off.
Now, when you visit MeTooMovement.org, you can immediately feel a sense of comfort and support for victims or as a victim yourself while being encouraged to join the movement. My initial response while looking into the eyes of the people in the videos on the homepage is empathy. And once I have that empathetic experience, I will probably believe the survivor's story whether or not I take the time to fact check that individual, looking at their behavior specifically for credibility purposes. You know, in the little bit of data that we were able to find regarding the reporting of false reports, the numbers range between 1.5% on the low end and 91% on the extreme end of all reported forcible rapes are found to be false. So yes, false allegations definitely have negative effect on the overall Me Too movement, and I wish people would be more thoughtful before jumping on the wave for the purpose of gaining celebrity status.
The general population usually has a visceral reaction to rape, and accusations are followed by judgment and sentencing by the public without knowing all the facts of the situation. A result of this emotional backlash is siding with the victim and social exile of the accused, including character assassination. The accuser is always coddled and protected. However, more frequently than we would like to admit, they are the real predator in the situation.
Whenever cases of sexual assault and rape are reported via media headlines and posts, the court of public opinion seems to take a hardline stance in support of the alleged victim. They verbally convict the accused before being presented with substantial evidence. These actions have marginalized the Me Too movement and has even encouraged opportunities for the alleged victims to monetize from their allegations. This results in those accused individuals suffering from the backlash of presumed guilt, even if they're later found to be innocent. Whatever happened to due process and being innocent until proven guilty? This is a major concern that we as a community need to address.
Okay. This situation is real. Let's be responsible. Okay. The Me Too movement is real. If you, within your own circle, know someone who has had an experience, take the time to let them talk. Take the time to hear them out. For you suckers that's out there, that's exploiting the Me Too movement for clicks, it's catching up to you. The internet doesn't forget. Let's be responsible. The Me Too movement is not something to be monetized. It's not something to seek attention. It's not something for you to get exposure or build a platform for yourself. People are out here being impacted in a way that changes their lives. So let's keep the movement pure. Let's keep the volume on the message loud. Let's be responsible.
What do you think? Join the conversation. Leave your comments. We'd love to hear from you.